The Year to Their podcast, it's time to start the show. Be sure to hold on tight, here we go. Exploring all the different Disney destinations. Year to Their, it's time to start the fun.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Ear to Their podcast, Walt Disney World Word of the Week. I am your host, Phil Grimlich, and each and every week I will bring you a different Walt Disney World word, and then I'll give you all kinds of hints, tricks, tips, backgrounds, all kinds of stuff about that word. Okay, this week's word of the week is brought to you by the letter L. L for lies. Yeah, this week I wanted to take a look at all of those rumors, all of those untrue stories, all of those lies that you may have heard and that you might actually believe when it comes to Disney and the Disney theme parks. So if anyone tells you any of the stories that I'm about to reveal to you, they are not telling you the truth, or they are actually liars.
Liar! Liar!
Get back, witch!
I'm not a witch, I'm your wife! But after what you just said, I'm not even sure I want to be that anymore!
Man, do I love that clip. Okay, let's go into the first big lie that you might have heard about Disney. And the first one I want to talk about is the big one, is the doozy, is about the company's founder, Walt Disney himself. Now, you may have heard that Walt Disney's body, or at least his head, is cryogenically frozen somewhere under one of the theme parks. Well, I don't mean to burst your bubble here, but that is actually a lie. Walt Disney was a very, very private man about his own life and the life of his family and his children. So when he passed away, there were no public viewings of his body. There were no public arrangements that people could go find or go visit his funeral or anything like that. None of that information was never made available to the public. So that's probably where the rumor kind of got started, was that somebody saw that none of this stuff was public and decided, hey, he was cryogenically frozen, when that actually was never the case. Walt Disney was actually cremated after his death, and, well, yes, obviously after his death, and his ashes were interred at the Forest Lawn Memorial Park in Glendale, California. So, no, unfortunately, Walt will not be coming back someday to run the Disney company again. Okay, on to the next big Disney lie. And this one goes to one of my favorite attractions, and one of a lot of people's favorite attractions, I think, Haunted Mansion. And the story is that the hearse that is parked out front of the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland was actually the hearse used to carry Mormon leader Brigham Young after his funeral. So the story is, after the funeral, they put him in the back of this hearse, and that was what was used to take him to the cemetery. Of course, as I already mentioned, that is a lie. And in fact, a hearse was not even used in Brigham Young's funeral. So that one has also been disproven over the years. Okay, moving on to the next one. And this one has been a controversy and has been talked about, I think, for decades. And that is the idea that turkey legs, the famous turkey legs that are sold in the Disney parks, are not actually turkey legs, but they are actually emu legs. Is that right? Emu? Emu? However you pronounce it. I'm not looking it up at the moment. The lie was further, pushed along by Zachary Levi on the Conan O'Brien show in March of 2017. Of course, Zachary Levi is the voice of Eugene/Flynn Rider in the Tangled movie and on the new TV show. So he said that he heard from former cast member friends of his that it was not a turkey leg that he was eating, that he was actually eating an emu leg. And Conan O'Brien couldn't believe it. He said, that can't be true. You know what, Conan? It's not true. That's why it doesn't seem like it could be true. The reason people get really confused about the turkey legs is because of the size of the ones that Disney sells, right? As consumers, we're used to the size of a Thanksgiving turkey, which is always a female turkey that you're buying at the store. Those turkeys are the hens, and they're actually smaller than the male turkey. And the male turkey legs are the ones that Disney actually sells. By the way, an emu leg is 8 times larger on average than the ones that Disney sells in the park. So you may need to rent a truck to drive you around Disneyland or Walt Disney World with one of those if you were buying one. Okay, on to the next big time Disney lie. Now, the next one is that there is a hidden, very exclusive, very secretive club right next to the Magic Kingdom's Pirates of the Caribbean called Club 21. This is very much like Disneyland's Club 33, and only members are allowed to go in, eat, and dine and drink at Club 21. Well, I hate to tell you, Club 21 is a lie. So when your friend tells you, or a friend of a friend, or anyone in the park tells you they've been to Club 21 and it exists, you can tell them, you, sir, are a liar. But with it just announced that Club 33 will be coming to Walt Disney World, they might not be lying for very much longer. So Club 21, no, never there, never was there, never will happen. But Club 33 is coming to Walt Disney World in the near future. And for my next big Disney lie, I'm thinking for my next trick, like I'm a magician or something. All right, so for the next big Disney lie, I'm going back out to Disneyland and actually back over to the Haunted Mansion. Now, the Haunted Mansion opened in 1969 after it was in production for several years, as a matter of fact. Now, the rumor is that originally the Haunted Mansion was much, much scarier. And the story goes that one of the first ever riders of the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland found it so scary, so terribly frightening that he had a heart attack and died right there on the attraction. Well, if you are getting familiar with the theme of today's podcast episode, no, that did not happen. That is a lie. Disneyland's Haunted Mansion has undergone a bunch of changes and upgrades over the years, but there is no truth to the story that someone died on the attraction and that it was changed at all after a death on the Haunted Mansion. Okay, so my last lie, the last one I want to bring up, is about the Contemporary Resort. Now, the rumor, the lie that I have heard for years and years and years is that the rooms at the Contemporary, in the main A-frame building at the Contemporary, were designed so that they could be removed and replaced from that A-frame building when needed. But over the years, the building settled, the rooms kind of settled into the building, and now they are impossible to remove. Well, that, my friends, is, as we already said, a lie. The truth here is that the main building of the Contemporary was built by the United States Steel Corporation as a kind of testing ground for modular construction techniques. Each room was built outside the actual resort, was fitted with things like electricity and plumbing, and they were actually created assembly line style, which I think is kind of cool, kind of a fun fact about that building. Once each room was finished, they were lifted by crane and slid into those spots in the Contemporary's main building. However, there was no documentation, and it was never intended for those rooms to be removed once they were placed into that A-frame building. And that is going to do it for this week's Walt Disney World Word of the Week. As always, thank you so much for listening. I really appreciate it. These are a lot of fun, and I'm going to keep, like I always say, I'm going to keep recording these as long as you keep listening to them. I really hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, please just tell someone about it. I know we all have one of those people in our lives that believes everything they read or believes everything they hear in Walt Disney World. So this might be a fun introductory episode to get them thinking and to get them to understand that while these rumors, these falsehoods have kind of been flying around the Disney company for years, none of them are actually true. They are all, as I say, as I said often in this episode, they're all lies. But you know what isn't a lie? There will be a new episode of the Walt Disney World Word of the Week each and every Wednesday morning, as well as a new episode of the regular Ear to There podcast each and every Monday morning. So until next time, thank you again so much for listening. Have a great week. Bye-bye.